Welcome to Not Factory Approved. On this video, or series of videos actually, I'm going to be showing you what I did to build this Sandblast cabinet. And there's a couple of things I would change, but I'll go through that in the video. Basically, it works perfectly. It filters through that bag. It has a furnace fan at the back that blows air in, so it's under pressure, not under vacuum. Which leads to some leaks that you have to be very careful about, but basically it keeps the noise down, keeps the dust down, and it clears the cabinet better. So stick with me and I'll show you what I did, and hopefully that helps you come up with your own ideas. I ran the frame through the cheap bead roller I've got. Then I'm going to use these legs that I've cut in half to form that around there, so it doesn't have a sharp edge sticking out. There's the cheap bead roller, $200 special, on sale of course. Another one of my fine made in a faraway land where they eat a lot of rice tools, but it does the job. Even though it's hand powered. So let's see if I can do something with this. These are the legs for the Sandblaster. So I'll have these casters. The overall distance is, overall length is 6 inches. Cut these down to fit. So I got to paint them yet. That's where it attaches to the frame, just sitting there. And then the hood sits on top of that. These ones are 6 feet at the moment. So it would be the shelf rails. Help stabilize the legs. And it was such thick metal and it's so heavy that I decided to cut it in half. So I'll use that as the rails as well. So it'll be a good strong base. I know it's a lot of work for nothing, but it was just too heavy with using the pipe, and there's not many scrap metal dealers around here that you can get metal from. So use what I got. So now I have to cut that in 4 foot and 2 foot, and that'll be the shelf rails and the legs, and the angle iron from the bed rails are for the inside. For the fan, which is sitting there, it should be strong and it should be movable. And hopefully not tip over, which I'm going to have some weight hanging off the back, so I still have to make sure that I can attach it to the frame with clips or something so that it can't fall backwards. Now it's starting to look like something. So these legs lay out slightly. It's upside down, of course. I have this just resting on the clamps. I'll just tack it here. And I've got it upside down so the shelf sits flat on that. I've got it so that it's about 1/4 of an inch spread on the legs over the length of 4 feet. And I'll do the 2 foot sections likewise. So let's tack it. I welded up both sets of legs. I realized I hadn't set this one to the right angle for both legs. So, of course, I welded it completely first. So I cut it so it was bendable, still holding. And I've clamped it to the other one because the other one is where I want it. Now to finish welding. There it is. Stands, slightly flared legs. Doesn't rock. I just have to put the casters on now. And just verify the height. Might be a little tall. It's going up another 6 inches with the casters. Oh well. So these ones, the long bars, I put on first, and I made a template to cut them out so that they would fit properly. They're all welded on the other side. I'm not going to weld both sides. Doesn't hold that much weight.
And then these ones I just eyeballed to get them to fit and ground them out accordingly. Oh, should be good and strong. Thing I have to do yet is to have two runners that go across for the spout of the cabinet, and then a square piece as well to hold the metal I put on there. I might just leave it as two shelves, who knows. Anyway, ideally I'll have a square cutout for the spout of the cabinet. I will be putting two of these rails in to hold the glass, and then there'll be a cross piece as well. I'm not sure if I really like the glass being down that low, so I might change that yet. Either bend this up at a 60-degree angle, or more likely take these pieces and run a new right angle in the sheet metal brake. Still thinking on that one. There it is, one rolling cabinet. More to be done, of course. Lots of room there. Lots of room on the shelf. Be able to put a fair amount on there. It's good and strong, doesn't flex. It's a little tall, but I think it's okay for me. I'm just under 6 feet. I was 6 feet at one point, but you know how it goes. So it's coming up pretty much to the middle of my chest. And I can look down through. I got it marked for the center point for the arms. And I think that should work. And I've got the supports to put in. Rear bottom shelf to make. And then of course the top and the glass and the venting and the lights and all that kind of stuff. And the fan to mount. Developments thus far. I bought 8 of these. So I've used 6 of them. Just go up on here. So that'll hold it at the back. And then I have 2 at the front. And then I have 2 at the bottom to hold it on the frame, just to make sure it doesn't slide off. And these will all get cleaned up yet. Do some grinding. Those are pretty much flush, but these ones have to be nipped off. And these plates are not quite strong enough, but they do work. And I put these handles on, just bent flat bar, 3/4 inch flat bar. And the gas shocks are on, which help lift it up. Well, more to hold it up than anything. There we go. You get things in and out. And I put on the sand pickup, or the media pickup. This one came with its own nozzle, which is handy. And the same company, which is Princess Auto, which those of you in Canada know what I mean. So this is their bigger one. Now that I have a bigger compressor over there, should be well matched. So I just put this bracket with their mounting rod there, just to hold it in place in the pickup. That way I don't have to make a steel tube to fit there. I've got to grind a little bit more out of here so that it opens easily. That's because there's a lump here from grazing. You can't beat down. But it's not bad. And the window has to go in. And make a plywood or a metal cover for the window so it doesn't get broken. Plywood is probably better. I have to paint the shelves yet, of course. So here's the outflow, and that goes up to this on the top with flexible tubing. I have to make the bracket to mount that yet, and then there'll be a dust collector bag goes on top here. I bought from the secondhand store a tablecloth and a bed sheet, and I will cut those up and sew them into a bag, strap them on here,
I might have to flare this out and then see if that collects the dust sufficiently. But getting there. I still have the lights to go, and I still have the armholes to go. Mark them here, and then those are the gloves down there. And a power cord and an airline. I have the airline to do yet too. There you go. It's getting there. Now for an update. What's been happening with the Sandblaster? A couple days of visiting with son and his family, and then 10 days of visiting all throughout BC. Some in Alberta. We're back. My back is finally good enough I can proceed again. So I put the 6-inch duct on, taped it with Gorilla Tape. It doesn't get hot, so that should be fine. It's caulked. It's bends at a 90 degree. I took this old rad support from an old F-150, bent it, not very well, but I bent it to fit in there. 6-inch T heater duct. Same thing on the other side. There's that one. It's wired. I couldn't find a metal cover. I will keep looking for one, but for now I wanted to cover it, so it's plastic, which doesn't cut real well, as you may have noticed. So the holes are made now for the arms. I was looking at a way to do it, and I just decided to copy the other Sandblaster, which is to make these round pieces. I've yet to form it perfectly round, but the holes, it will go in here, they fit, and then the gloves will go around the outside here on the inside of the cabinet and get clamped in place. So I have to get some clamps for that. This hose clamp is from the other other Sandblaster. So this is how I weld it or braze it. So I bent it roughly round, put the hose clamp on tight, put the two ends together, make sure it's got a good curve. It's not sharp. I've got to do a little more forming there, and then braze it up. And then it'll go in place, and I'll tack it on the holes, quite a few places, so it won't come free. And then that will be holding the gloves, and then I'll make an exterior trim out of this. Unless, of course, I get this edge completely rounded, but I think I'll probably be putting the trim on it. So, continues. Everything's back to is all together, and because the gloves fit the other compressor, I keep saying compressor, because the gloves fit the other Sandblast hood, this is the ring from that Sandblast hood, and I can't get that replacement part, so would have been good, because then it would just fit in here and everything would be wonderful. But this has to go back on the other one, unless I decide to put these on the other one, but I think I'll just keep the galvanized with the galvanized. So progress so far, that's the hoops that are in there. And one thing about tacking it bit by bit, then you can, if there's any gaps that you don't want, you can expand it with a hammer. This one bubbled out when I was welding, so that's why it looks like it's not consistent, because it isn't. So this side as well, same idea. I think I'll try to braze it every inch, and that should be sufficient. I don't think I have to go around the whole thing. Then clean it up and make the trim, and that should do it. Now I can mount the gloves on inside, but I have to get some long hose clamps. You can do it with multiple hose clamps, but that just seems like way too much money. They're about $2 a piece. I've brazed it around roughly every inch and a half. I can see that I'm going to have to use caulking. That would be one advantage to brazing it all the way around. There's the gloves. Just going to put the clamps on them. They fit perfectly. I think I knew what I was doing. But that would only be if you didn't know me. And other than that, clamp them, caulking, finish cutting the trim, put that on there. And that part will be done. So the decorative rings, such as they are on. I had to use some heat and push it flat in various places, but it worked. So the gloves are on, it's clamped. See there, I had to get two clamps together because the 8-inch clamps are far away and I don't feel like waiting. So there's the nozzle, the hose coming back. Here's the air line. I put that through with a fitting, cut a piece of 1/4-inch rubber to make the seal, and then I will make a right angle here for this hose and a right angle here for the air line, and that way it can go either side. It just needs a, if I move it 90 degrees, it would need more Teflon, that's all. Or less Teflon, sorry, depending which way I go. So there it is. Now to put the airline on, and the grate is in. I think it's ready to go, just the glass. It's the last thing. One sandblaster operating away. There wasn't quite enough oomph in the fan to inflate this bag. So I had to put a coat hanger rod in there, and you have to kind of help it a bit, and then it expands the bag's inside. So it's 3 layers. Hopefully that works. Just held on with a hose clamp. I have to get the glass protector yet for this, but that's what it looks like inside. I'll hook up some air, pour some media in there, see if we can get some action. I'm going to call that complete. Shelves are painted in place, caulked up a few more holes instead of caulking up the whole job. Turned the airline 90 degrees, so if I really want to, I can turn it over the other side, but this is where the airline is going to come in for now. I've cut down, zipped off the tops of the screws there. I've put the bag up with a stiffer rod, a 3/8 rod at the back, Velcro at the top, and held on with a hose clamp. So when it's turned on, there's the full length of the bag to filter. And I had to take off the struts. They just weren't powerful enough now that the glass and the outlet are on the lid. Just couldn't hold them up. So I'll have to get probably a strut, but it will lean against the rod at the back and sit that way. So it is usable. And I'm going to call that complete for now. I do have to make some kind of scraper though to make sure that the media stays down in the collection hole down there. And I could put this, I'm going to have to put this down a little deeper too. See, it's fairly high above the lid, but that's easily adjusted. So that's it. One cabinet. I slowed the speed down a little bit because it was going over speed. I was getting a draft coming back here, so I don't have that anymore. So that's about a 2-inch pulley. Yeah, probably a 2-inch. And that should be probably a 6-inch. It's like a 3,500 RPM motor. There it is. I hope that inspires you. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can make a Sandblast hood. One Sandblaster, first trial. It's getting a little bit of grains coming through. You can see that, little black specks. So let's turn it on. Try and clean that wrench that's down there. Kind of hurt the left hand, but here it goes. Now it's kinking the hose. The other hand. Okay, try again. It's fairly thick down there. Working better than the other one did, for sure. Way better. Not only in removal, but in being able to see. I'm feeling little bits of grit. There's a hole here somewhere. That's getting dust. There you have it. Okay, success. Other than the stuff spitting in my face. First use, basically a success. You can see there's lots of leaks to take care of. So all around here, you can see it's been leaking there and on that side. So I'll put caulking in there, and then that should stop it blowing in my face. The other problem it has is that that slope is not steep enough. So occasionally I have to take the nozzle and blow it down. Get it collecting the bottom so it can be picked up. Other than that, I'm happy with it. Big improvement. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or even notify, or any of the above, or all of the above. Thank you.